What is going on, guys? Just a few short days ago, I brought you guys some pretty interesting news. News that even though Onward Mobility would not be producing a new Blackberry branded phone, another company called Unihertz is basically doing the exact same thing and kind of just straight up cloning the Blackberry Keyone or Key 2 or Key 2 LE, depending upon which one you want to talk about. They all were pretty similar. Now today we have some better, more official news. Before we had sort of a darkened kind of grainy image. Now Unihertz has officially just shown us what this thing looks like, bright, clear, nice, and pretty. So let's look at their website here. This thing is going to be called the Titan Slim. Of course, we've got the Titan, we've got the Titan Pocket. Now we have the Titan Slim. And if you look at this thing, and you look at the Blackberry Keyone that I have here in my hand, you're going to see immediately some very large similarities. The most notable being, of course, that big, giant, full QWERTY keyboard, which is the part that I think all of us are the most excited about. But if we look here a little bit deeper, let's see if we can kind of pull out some more details here from this image. Let's open this thing up in a new tab so that I can kind of zoom in here, and we'll see what we can kind of glean from this now that we can see it a bit more clearly than we could before. So the first thing I want to talk about again is just the layout of the keyboard, because it is quite different from what we had on the Blackberry Key devices. So the first thing is, looks like we got a fingerprint scanner up top here. Now on the Key devices, that fingerprint scanner was actually part of your space bar down low, which I think that's a better layout. We do also have a shift key and a symbol key up at the top as well. Kind of a weird place for a shift is usually next to your Z key. At least on the Keyone, they kind of put it below the Z key. Now it's going to be way up on the corner. That's a little bit weird. The symbol button, same thing. That I feel like should be down lower, but maybe it's something that we can get used to. We also have a back button and a multitasking button as hardware. And that's pretty interesting because I speculated in the prior video whether or not they were going to let us have gesture navigation, and it appears that we do, because you've got your little bar there to swipe up to go home, and you've got the little corner dudes here that you swipe in from the corner to launch the Google Assistant. So it appears we do have full gesture navigation, but if you are to maybe you can use them both concurrently. Maybe you can turn the gestures off, or maybe they want you to just leave them on all the time and you can just use those buttons to go back into multitask so that you don't have to reach up. That might make some sense, right? Because a swipe up won't be that hard to do, but perhaps they're thinking that a swipe up and hold or a swipe from the side might be difficult to do because of the shape of the device. I don't know. I don't think that would be the case, but at any rate, there you go. You've got hardware buttons to do those tasks down low as well. We can, of course, see a speaker grill down here, USB-C, probably a microphone port there. We have a selfie camera up top, which makes sense. Rather large bezels, right? I mean, those bezels look about the same as we had here, and this thing is pretty old now. So those bezels are a little bit concerning. We have, it looks like maybe a SIM tray or maybe volume rockers over there. There's a red button here. Could that be a power button? Could that be an assistant key or a programmable key like we have on these devices here? Because we have our power, volume, and then we have a programmable button over here to the side. Maybe they're going to have something like that, because it almost looks like there's something else over here. I can't tell if that's shadow or if there are more buttons over there. Really hard to tell. And as far as from Unihertz, that's really about all we have. This is all they've given us here. Slim and perfect for one-handed typing and holding even in small hands. So they're saying you're going to be able to type this thing with one hand, which, you could do that with the Key devices. So that's believable. Rectangular screen compatible with most apps. It is kind of an odd-shaped screen. It's a little bit shorter, right, than a normal typical today smartphone screen. High-end sleek Outlook. I'm not really sure what they mean by Outlook. The latest one of Unihertz QWERTY smartphone series. And that's really all we're getting from them at this point. Now, we do have a thread on Reddit, though, with a poster claiming to have some insider information about the device. So let's jump over to that post and we'll kind of talk about what we've got here. So this is the person that posted this information on the Unihertz subreddit. And again, like I said, they are purporting to have some information about the device. Someone asked where they got this information from, digging bits of info here and there with the help of some people from Crackberry. I cannot confirm any of this, okay? This is totally pinch of salt kind of stuff. Don't know if any of this is accurate, but this is what this person has posted. So let's talk about what it might mean. So they're saying a 48 megapixel camera, which is, look, hard to say what that means, okay? Because there are good 48 megapixel cameras and there are bad 48 megapixel cameras. It's going to come down to, of course, the software processing. Now, I will tell you that I don't think they've got a single 48 megapixel camera on any of their other phones. The Titan Pocket, I believe those are 12 megapixel cameras. I think it's like a 12 and an 8. So I don't know that they've ever used a 48 megapixel camera, so that doesn't mean that they won't, but it does seem a little bit out of character. A display with a 1280 by 760 resolution, that is a very low resolution screen. That is actually, I believe, lower than the Blackberry Keyone and Key2 devices. So that is a little bit disconcerting. But again, if the price is right, this may be okay. If we're talking about a device that's like $299 or something, these things may make more sense. 204 grams weight, which would put us actually a little bit heavier than the Blackberry Keyone, which was about 180 grams. Now, this next one is a little bit weird to me. I don't quite know what they're talking about here. 12.75 millimeters wide doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. That's about half of an inch. So I don't think that they mean wide, because when I think wide, I think height and I think width, and then this would be thickness, right? But half an inch thick is pretty doggone thick. I mean, like, this is about an inch, right? So we're talking about something that would be like up to there. This thing would be an absolute brick, which might explain the weight a little bit, but I don't think that it looks quite that thick in this picture. I mean, if it is half an inch thick, that is a rather thick device. I'm not entirely sure that's what they mean. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. Let me know if you know what I'm missing in the comments, because that seems a little bit odd. 256 gigs of storage is whatever. It's probably going to be relatively cheap. Android 11 is a little bit disappointing as well. Android 12 is kind of a thing. I know that that's kind of hypocritical of me to be complaining about that, but it is a brand new device. You'd like to see Android 12 be on it. Bluetooth 4.1, not great either. That is an old standard of Bluetooth. We'd like to see a newer standard. NFC, GPS, and IR blaster. That's cool to have, right? And a lot of these budget phones tend to have these weird little features like an IR blaster. Cool to see it there as well. Dual SIM makes a ton of sense for a device like this. Face unlock and fingerprint sensor, which of course the face unlock would just be a simple kind of non-secure, just a photo of your face, because I don't see any sort of IR blasters and scanners going on there like an iPhone would have, so probably not super secure. And then support for keyboard shortcuts and keyboard scrolling, which is important. Something you had here, you could press on your home screen, you could long press keys and launch different apps, and you could also scroll with your keyboard because it was capacitive. So good to see those things there. But, kind of go back to the face unlock thing, I wonder if they're going to have quite the same attention to detail on security things that BlackBerry was known for having. That was kind of a big selling point of BlackBerry, was that it was secure. You're sending, important work documents, and you weren't worrying that your BlackBerry was going to be a device that was going to be leaking your information and so forth. So, I don't know if that stuff's going to be there. Also, things like the BlackBerry Hub were really, really useful on the BlackBerry device. The place that's going to kind of unify all of your stuff into one inbox was really, really useful on these BlackBerry devices. And I don't know what kind of software Unihertz is going to have to compete with that kind of stuff. At any rate, that's kind of what we know and what we think we might know about the Unihertz Titan Slim. Please do sound off in the comments down below what you think about this stuff. Again, take these specs with a grain of salt, because they may totally be wrong. We won't know for a little bit longer. There is a place on their website for you to go ahead and sign up to be informed when this stuff all goes live, when it goes sale. You may be able to get a little bit of a discount on the device when all of that stuff happens. I'll put a link to this page in the comments, or rather in the description down below. Guys, thanks for making it all the way through today's video. I will see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.